guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Author Talk series. I'm your host, Cavanah, and today we're going to be talking about plotting a novel and what my strategy is when it comes to that. So the first thing that I do is I start with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I know that sounds very typical, duh. Of course you start with a beginning, a middle, and an end. But I'm talking about it in its simplest form. So, for example, the Hypernova series, no spoilers. I mean, slight spoilers, but for the Hypernova series, it would be the beginning is Ron is abducted by aliens. The middle would be Finn trains at Altair. And then the ending would be they save the universe. So just being able to understand your beginning, middle, and end in its very simplest forms can help you fill in the blanks for everything else that's around it. The main thing that I do when I'm plotting my novel is I have a plot outline. I'm not one of those writers who goes by the seat of her pants. I actually think that's what the term is a seat of the pants writer and a planner. There's a lot of writers out there who just kind of let it go whatever direction their imagination takes them as they're writing, which is fine for sure. But I find that the issue with seat of the pants writers is that you'll write it and then you'll come to a point where you'll decide something and then you'll realize that something you wrote at the very beginning of the novel doesn't match up with this new idea that you have. Because one of the main things about plot outlining, the golden rule that I follow is that you do not introduce something unless you're going to use it. And having small Easter eggs and things at the beginning of your story that are going to end up being pivotal at the end of your story is the art of being a good author. I kind of write my plot outlines like they're simple recipes, and I take care to avoid overly detailed bits, which are things that I add in a later process. So my plot outline will look something like, it'll be like bullet points. It'll say, Finn goes to the Jade Forest. Finn gets attacked by a spawn. Ron comes back to Earth. Ron takes him to space. Finn tells his mom he's leaving. Finn goes to Altair. You don't have to add in all of the complicated dialogue bits or environments. Just writing them in bullet points, yes, like they're a simple recipe, helps create a plot outline that you can refer back to if you ever feel like you get lost in the writing process. And it also ensures that you don't get writer's blocks, which is a reason why I'm very against being a seat of the pants writer myself, because when you are just kind of going with the flow, sometimes that flow stops and then you're just like, oh crap, what do I write now? But when you have a plot outline, even if it's not fully detailed, it's much easier to refer back to it and then fill in the blanks, as opposed to having no idea at all what you're writing. And then that's why a lot of us, I feel like, get stuck in these writer's blocks. So once I write my plot outline, which can be anywhere between 15 pages to 100, the plot outline I have for Hypernova series, I think is 12,000 words, I'm pretty sure. So once I write my plot outline, I wait a month and then I change or add details, because it's really important to give your brain room to breathe. You don't want to overwhelm it when you're writing a plot outline, because you have no idea when you're going to come across that light bulb moment where you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I should have done this instead. And if you're an author who holds yourself to a high standard, you want to make sure that the product you're putting out is the best that it can be. So you don't want to rush it. You really want to make sure that you have a concrete plot outline and take your time with it. The process of creating a plot takes longer than people give it credit for. Another thing that I do is I ensure that I have a basic one-liner pitch for my plot. So a lot of people will ask you, what's your novel about? And it is very important to be able to tell them in a basic form what it is about, because you don't want to bore them with all of the copious details of the entirety of your book. You almost want to have it like it's a film pitch, like you're at a Netflix meeting and they ask you, what's it about? For example, the one-liner I have for the Hypernova series is Finn and Ron are two brothers who travel space, solving crimes and saving lives. That's the one-liner sentence I have to pitch my book to people when they ask me. And obviously the Hypernova series is way more than that. But when I'm trying to sell something, I'm not going to bore somebody with all these details that don't matter to them because they haven't read it yet. So it's more like an entertainment thing where, hey, that sounds really catchy, I'll give it a go. You can plot your novel on paper, on Google Docs, on whatever, as long as you have a way to write down and understand in its simplest forms the arcs of your book. For me personally, that's all you need to really get started. I find that you don't need to gravitate to one major end of the spectrum. You know, you don't have to be like such a planner that it hinders your ability to write because you're so stuck in the details. But then you also don't have to just not plan at all and just go with the flow and see where it takes you. Of course, there's different strokes for different folks. You can plot your outline or plot your book however you want to, if you do it at all. I just find that over the last few years that I've been writing, this is the strategy that works best for me. I almost pretend I'm pitching a film where you're going through what, like if you're watching a Netflix movie, you can say what the beginning, the middle, and the end is, and then everything else fills in for itself. And when you're creating your plot, don't be afraid to take references from things that you enjoy. I find that people tend to think that the creative process is entirely original, when in reality, nothing is actually truly original. You know, the Hypernova series, it's kind of cringy to say it, but there's a plot in the Hypernova series that I actually was inspired by Rick and Morty, the Adult Swim television series. And I was also influenced by Star Wars. And a lot of the key visuals in my brain I got from Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's okay to reference other art mediums in your plot outline, or at least use them as references. Because in all reality, with how much creative stuff is out there, nothing is ever going to truly be original. People will always be able to compare it to something else. So go ahead and look up whatever it is that you're writing. For example, if I'm writing sci-fi, I'll look up and read sci-fi material. If you're writing a fantasy, then go ahead and look up fantasy artworks and watch Lord of the Rings and really get enveloped in other people's creative interpretations of the medium that you're using. And you'll find that plotting your book will be a lot easier if you've got these visuals and these ideas already in your mind. So I think that's enough rambling for today. A nice short episode. I'm thinking that these episodes are going to be under 15 minutes long. Little bite-sized Friday entertainment pieces that you can listen to on your commute or something like that. But as always, if you're interested in purchasing my novel, all the links are below. If you're on Spotify, go ahead and look me up. I love you guys so much. And thank you guys for being here. I'll see you next week. Bye.